Jonathan and Primero into the wall, then just about avoids it. Is history going to repeat itself? Yes, it is. Off the track, into the wall they go. They go down like Skittles. Formula Danny is the winner of the first ever Squad Sprint Series. He is the champion. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Veloce Esports Squad Sprint. It's been a long wait, but Season 2 is finally upon us and it's back bigger and better than ever before. I'm Ginger Andy, and joining me on this quest through all of the rounds this season, we have Justin Sutton. Justin, it's bound to be an exciting season ahead of Squad Sprint action.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I am really looking forward to this. Everything has been turned up to 11 for Season 2. It should be a lot of fun. I'm excited. We're in the commentary booth together, finally, at last, for this series as well, too. It's going to be a blast.
Well, let's take a quick look at the revised rules for this season. Instead of 5 laps, we're now up to a 25% distance race. We'll have pit stops, we'll have strategies, all adding into the mix to spice things up in the Squad Sprint series. We've got damage on and we've got regular track limits in play as well. It's going to be an exciting, thrilling season. We're at the Brazilian Grand Prix here in Interlagos. It is where we saw Danny crowned the champion last year at the final race. What will happen this year? We've got more drivers on the grid, a lot of quality as well. Justin, can anyone stop Formula Danny from going back to back?
That is going to be the question. From pole position today, we've got Liam, it's Biza, and then we've got Niren as well. So the two FIFA guys on first and second. Then we've got Joe Eterno, Hayden from fourth position, and then Arav in fifth alongside Isaac Gillison.
Well, starting from 7th, we have Ryan Littlemore. He's got Raggy alongside him, and starting from P8. 9th of the grid, it is Tom Storm Lartelo with Alex Gillen starting from P10. 11th, it's Tom Martinez, and Benjamin Daly starts from 12th.
Bringing up the rear, this is the high-quality drivers. We've got Veloce James in 13th alongside the very young, very talented Hypers. And then we've got Jarno Otmir coming in 15th position. And Daniel Berezne, the winner of Season 1, will start from very last position, 16th position. And this is where these drivers are going to be doing battle for today's 18-lap race around the fantastically beautiful and flowing circuit of Interlagos. It's one of my all-time favorites.
It is a classic track. Lap time under 70 seconds. So many hills, uphill climbs, downhill swoops. It is a fantastic circuit, and it's a beautiful day for the action as well. Light cloud, partially cloudy skies, a bit of sunshine as well. Perfect day to go racing. The formation lap is almost over, and it's almost time to go racing. Let's have a little bit of team radio, Justin.
In principle, I believe the slower guys are in front, so let's focus on that. The quicker start we get, and the more cars we clear, obviously the faster guys will have to get through.
Good strategy there from Tom97. He wants to get ahead nice and early.
Well, here we go then, the 5 red lights coming on. It's been a long wait, but the Veloce Esports Squad Sprint is going to return right now as the 5 lights go out. It's a good start from Niren. He moves through into the lead, going into the first corner, down into the centre S. Niren leads, Eterno in second, and Hayden Gullis slots into third with Isaac in fourth as they all funnel their way down through that centre S and on to turn 3. Arava running in fifth. He's looking to make some early progress, Justin, as well.
Raggy in the cockpit view, which we love to see. Not everybody uses the cockpit view. Very few people, in fact, using cockpit view. But as Niren with a big slide there coming out of Decido del Lago. He's going to lose a position, and he's going to drop down into second. And Hayden is going to try to go up the inside through Ferradura. Can he make the move on the McLaren? Make it a 1-2 for a Racing Point. Oh, a bit of contact, I think, from Isaac behind in the Williams. So Hayden's going to have to stay behind for the meantime. Isaac trying to look to go around the outside. Arav gives a big squeeze to Veloce James, who goes off into the grass a little bit there. Arav maintains that 5th place position. Isaac losing the back end ever so slightly. James has Raggy on his left-hand side as well, but he does manage to stay around the outside. Oh, big moment there between Isaac and Arav, and that could be an opportunity for James. He goes up the inside, and indeed, he does manage to take that position. It's only the end of lap 1, and James is already up to 5th position. What a start.
Yeah, absolutely flying start, as you'd expect from Veloce James. I've got some more team radio.
I've led a lap of Squad Sprint. Come on.
Well, there you go. A couple of cars coming into the pits at the end of the first lap, but Joe is absolutely ecstatic to have led a lap of Squad Sprint, Justin. Just how many more laps will they lead this season? You'll be absolutely delighted with that one.
Yeah, and that was Jarno and Danny that were pulling off into the pit. So the two kind of front runners. Remember, of course, the guys that start at the back are the faster guys, and they have opted to pit right at the end of the first lap. They're going to do 17 laps on that side of tires. Oh, big moment for Storm, and that's going to put him off. And I think there were some other cars involved in that as well, too. A big chunk of wing missing on that Haas. So that was a big moment for Storm. I'm not sure if he's out of the race just yet. No, it looks like his Haas is moving once again. The other Haas of James, meanwhile, is going side by side with Isaac. Isaac trying to go around the outside of this right-hander of turn 11. It's a contact between the two of them at the exit, but James just about manages to stay ahead for the meantime. He's got Niren up ahead, and that Racing Point still leading the way. Excuse me, Hayden doing well. Erva making a move on Isaac. Oh, Isaac had a really bad exit there, and that's going to move Erva up into 4th.
Yeah, Arava up to 4 for now. Big Guns Gullis is homing in on the back of the two of them. Is he going to try and make a move? Isaac moving left, moving right, looking to find a way through on Arava. He's going to try and go right round the outside. He won't be able to do that, and Arava fends him off as we go back to Raggy with that wonderful cockpit camera. Great to see, but he's being overtaken by Veloce Hypers, who's gone down the outside. Now is the inside for turn 3 and moves up into 7th place. It's all happening here in the opening few laps of the squad sprint. Raggy having a look up the inside. A little bit of a touch there. Off goes Hypers. Up the inside goes the Mercedes there of Raggy, and Tom just in there trying to take advantage of as well. Couldn't quite find a route through as well on Hypers, and he remains in 9th place. But it's really congested in the midfield at the moment, Justin, isn't it?
Yeah, it's starting to spread out. Oh, and there goes a Mercedes spinning off as well, and his teammate Tom97 just about managing to avoid contact and continues on, but Raggy is going to be really feeling that one as we got a replay now of the start of the race. We're on board with James. He's going for the outside line as they're 3 wide all throughout the field, and that worked out quite well for him, actually, as James gained a number of positions. We saw that he was up to 5th at the end of the first lap, and we could see how he gained the majority of those positions. Look at that. He's already up into 8th position. But as they're coming out of turn 3 on the rundown towards turn 4, this is what it looked like for Alex Gillen on the opening lap as he makes a little bit of contact with Formula Danny. I think some contact as well there too with Tom97. Yeah, you can see the warning with Formula Danny that he picked up there. So not the worst start, but not the best start either for Alex Gillen. And there you can see that big moment for Storm. And actually, Hypers sort of made a lag contact there with him. So Storm kind of went flying, but Hypers barely even felt him.
Yeah, really lucky there for Hypers as we've got more team radio.
Oh, no!
Oh, no,
I looked
mate.
away for a split second.
Oh, damn it. Well, use the clean out or pit now and just get on the softs. And
Yeah.
Well, Raggy absolutely gutted about that one, going for a spin there right in the heat of the battle. As we go back to the front, we mentioned the contrasting emotions down at Haas. James having an absolute flyer, Storm literally flying, taking off into the sky a few moments ago. But here we go back to the front on lap 3 out of 18. James with that storming start, not interested in hanging around, and he's going to go down the inside of Eternal. And Joe has managed to lead 3 laps. He won't be leading a 4th as Veloce James now sweeps through into the lead of the Brazilian Grand Prix. Textbook stuff as we now go back to Veloce, Formula Danny and Jarno Opmeer, who, remember, pitted on the opening lap. That's why they've not made too much progress. And down the inside goes Formula Danny, fastest lap of the race, and a tidy move up the inside in the Alpha ahead of Jarno. In the pits though, what we got? We've got Hypers, we've got Alex Gillen in there, and I think Raggy was in there as well. So 3 more cars in the pits nice and early, Justin.
Yeah, so that's a few positions gained for both Jarno and for Danny as well. So they do find themselves, I believe, in now 10th and 11th position, if I'm not mistaken about that one. But Alex Gillen coming out with Ryan L83 right behind as we switch over to Arav, who is still somehow holding on to 4th position. Niren as well in a 3rd place position. Again, they have not been into the pits though, whereas Formula Danny and Jarno Opmeer have. So that's sort of the difference of why, again, we're not really seeing them come flying past these slightly slower drivers. These are, of course, veterans of F1 racing games, but not quite up to the F1 Esports standard of things. As we switch on board with Big Guns Gullets, he's looking to try and gain a position off of Isaac. He's going to be way too far back to make anything happen here. DRS is open on the rundown towards turn 1. You can see he's using lots of ERS. He's down to just 20% battery life before slamming on the brakes, and actually he missed his braking point there. He's going to go off the circuit, and that is going to allow the Mercedes of Tom97 to sneak past. Tiamat Marduk not that far behind either, as Hayden will pick up the DRS here off of the back of that Mercedes, but he's not going to be close enough to mount an attack into Decido Delago. He'll have to stay behind for the meantime. Oh, that's a spinner there. Arab makes contact, the Mercedes makes contact, and Hayden just about gets through.
oh, Arab's gone. Tom's out. Tom and Arab have done. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Again.
Oh my god, they've hit each other.
Are you still in the race? I'm out, mate. I'm out.
Oh,
I'm out.
No.
That was the biggest collision ever. Biggest T-bone ever.
That was absolutely enormous. I can't believe I've only got a virtual safety car from that. Let's have another look at that on the replay. That was a huge accident. Round goes out of it, and Tom, full force, straight into him. Tom gets it on the left and the right hand side. And let's see what kicked it all off. Arava way too wide, loses the rear, round goes the Ferrari, and Arava and Tom, well, they had a collision course at a number of races last year. It looks to be continuing into season 2 as well. Goodness me, that was some hit, Justin.
That was a massive impact. It was 2 cars, and there were only 6 wheels on them at the end of it after all the dust had settled. Only 6 wheels between the 2 of them. So, yeah, pretty heavy impact, and that is going to bring the number of drivers still in this race down to 14, having started at 16, and James still leading the way. Interestingly, he's only built a 2-second gap on Eterno Joe, and it's been a couple of laps, so he's only about a second a lap quicker, which is pretty big in F1, let's be totally honest. But for Joe, I think that's actually quite good. But Hayden's still holding on to 5th position, but it looks to my eye anyway that Tiamat Marduk is even closer than he was on the previous lap. Certainly Hayden is a bit further from the car ahead as well. Ben's not going to be able to mount an attack into turn 4 on this occasion, but you can just see that, you can just about see that Ferrari in the rear view mirrors of this Racing Point.
Yeah, he's gaining and gaining and gaining as Ben just waiting to pounce. Just in front of that, we've got another bit of action. Oh, as Hayden takes a thump from the rear from Tiamat Marduk. A little love tap there from the Aussie, but it looks like Hayden's just about going to cling onto that. And then we've got Isaac going off and going for a spin in the infield section of the racetrack. Round he goes and drops down to 6th place. I know he was close to Niren. I don't know if he was making contact with Niren though. We didn't see that on the camera. And now Formula Danny is not going to show any sympathy. He's going to sweep right round the outside, rub salt in the wounds, and take that 6th place away. Tidy stuff from Formula Danny as we move back up to Hayden Gillis, who's still under pressure from Tiamat Marduk as they come across the line to start lap number 7. Is Tiamat Marduk going to go for the move? Yes, he is. Late on the brakes, and through goes the Ferrari. The prancing horse gallops up into 4th place. Tidy little move, but he's gone wide. But goodness me, Hayden nearly dropped it into the barrier there, Justin. Big slide.
Yeah, Hayden had the better line through the Senna S because of the way Tiamat Marduk had to make that overtake, but unfortunately the back end just stepping out ever so slightly on that Racing Point, which just meant that he couldn't mount an attack on the run down towards turn 4 using that DRS. He just lost a little bit of that momentum coming out of the corner. And I was going to say, Formula Danny was obviously very keen to try and put a car between himself and Jarno Opmeer. I think that's why he was so interested in overtaking Isaac as quickly as he possibly could. But unfortunately for him, Jarno has managed to clear that Williams almost as quickly as Danny did, and he is right on the tail of this Alfa Romeo. Danny is now starting to catch up to the back of Hayden Gullis, who is in that Racing Point just up ahead. Tiamat Marduk not further up the road. So it looks like a couple of more cars for our F1 Esports drivers here to have to navigate through, which could be good news or bad news for Formula Danny or Jarno. We'll see how that plays out for them.
Yeah, we'll see how it plays out for them with Veloce James up at the front in the clean air. You would think it's advantage him. Of course, remember, he's yet to stop. These two have stopped, Danny and Jarno, but now they're coming up to the traffic. Will they be slowed down by that, and will that give it the advantage to James? But let's keep an eye here on Hayden, who's coming straight back at Tiamat Marduk, it looks like. He's not dropped off the back of him, and he's very, very keen on trying to get ahead of him, because the last thing you want is these two breathing down your leg. Is there anyone else that you wouldn't want behind you? I really don't think there is. I mean, it can't get any harder than having to defend from Formula Danny and Jarno Opmeer. So, Hayden's got his work cut out. I think the best way of defence here for Hayden is to attack the car in front, but I think it's too late for that, because Danny is all over the back of him as they go through the infield section, and Hayden's going to try and defend the inside, and Danny's going to go to the outside. That could allow Jarno to get involved. Don't want to get squeezed out there, but he's pulled off another really tidy move round the outside. Now can Jarno follow through? Yes, he can. Crucial move there for Jarno. These two are stuck to each other like glue, and you can see there Justin, Jarno was determined not to let Danny get up the road.
Yeah, thankfully for Jarno, Hayden, I think, held up Danny enough to where he could do that. Oh, as Tiamat Marduk peels off into the pits in the Ferrari, it looks like he gets everything slowed down. coming into the pits at the end of lap 8, so he's going to be looking to do a 10-lap stint on these soft compound tires that he's equipping on now. It looks like he's going to need a new front wing as well, too, as Tiamat Marduk picked up some damage at some point during the race. All's looking good, as you can see from the MFD at the bottom right for Jarno Opmeer, as he was just switching through those tabs. You can see everything was looking really good on that Renault. No issues, everything looking green for the most part. I think I saw maybe a yellow engine component, maybe just a little bit on the warm side, but aside from that, things going very, very well. Speaking about going well, Veloce James still leading this race ahead of Eterno Joe by a pretty comfortable margin now, too. It was only a couple of seconds a while back, but he's really stretching those legs now.
Yeah, it really is. Eterno, to be fair to him, though, he's put in a decent shift so far, isn't he, in second place, doing a really solid job given compared to how he did last season, as we lose Jarno Opmeer from the session, which is a real shame. And now we've got a virtual safety car because Ryan has retired somewhere out on the racetrack, and that will invite several cars into the pits to take advantage of that VSC. We've got the race leader Veloce James in the pits. I think we saw Niren peel off into the pits as well, so a few drivers taking advantage of the virtual safety car period. Is that going to give James the advantage against Jarno and Danny? We'll wait to see. Obviously Jarno's just disconnected. Hayden Gullis also coming into the pits, Justin, to take advantage of that VSC.
No surprise there, of course. You lose less time by pitting under the VSC, so no surprise to see lots of drivers scrambling to get into the pits and put on a new set of tires for their compulsory pit stop. Looks like VSC is coming to an end. And what was that? That was a very slow-moving Renault. And actually, the only Renault on circuit is... Oh, and that's a big moment there for James and Hypers under VSC conditions. It looks like James going a little bit slower than what Hypers would have expected, but we can hear from the young driver right now.
Okay, Red Wing. Wow. Bruh, that is so unlucky there with James. Just stopped.
That's a tough one. That's a tough one to say. You know, it's really up to the car behind to match the car ahead's pace, and I don't think James was necessarily being dangerous there. I think he was just going slower than what Hypers expected. But you know, he's got to drive to a delta. Them's the rules.
Yeah, I think Justin. Oh, that's a shame. A 5-second penalty for Eterno. He'd been doing so well, and he was only 1 mile an hour over the speed limit. It's a slap in the wrist. It's a 5-second penalty. We like to be lenient. The stewards won't be lenient, and he gets a 5-second penalty slapped for his troubles onto his race time. That's a shame. Just touching on that briefly, Justin. It looked to me like it was one of those ones where James was cut out by the delta, had to slow down as quickly as he could. And then, you know, I think Hypers was just too close to the back of him and just ran straight into him. So a real shame there for him. But this is going to get pretty tasty on pit exit, isn't it? Eterno and Alex Gillen. And Alex Gillen's got a great run on him. He's got the momentum. He's got the line. He's got 4th place on the run down to Desiro do Lago. And he takes that place away from Eterno. So it goes from bad to worse for Eterno with a 5-second penalty. And now he's been overtaken by Alex Gillen on the pit exit. Is there any way back for Eterno? Doesn't look like it at the moment. Lap 11 out of 18. These guys are squabbling over 4th and 5th.
Yeah, some pretty decently sized gaps starting to form. Oh, a big moment there for Eterno Joe as the back end just steps out as he's getting onto the throttle coming out of turn 9. Back to green flag racing. Oh, I can see on the mini-map, actually, there is a McLaren, a slow-moving McLaren. I believe that's Niren, and I think he may have just lost the position to Tiamat Marduk, potentially. But I saw the yellow flag come out, and it went green, and it looks like Niren is moving once again, but may have lost the position as a result of that. Unfortunately, we don't have footage of that, but we're still on board with Eterno Joe. And, you know, we've been talking about his sort of improvement compared to last season, but look at this. He is keeping up with Alex Gillen quite well. Alex Gillen is an AOR F1 champion on the PC side. Now, that was years ago, admittedly, but he's a champion nonetheless, a very talented driver, and Joe is keeping up with him quite well. Now, Alex Gillen wasn't very quick through that long left-hander on the before coming onto the DRS straight, so I think he lost a little bit of time as a result of a mistake there. But I gotta say, I think Eterno Joe is driving quite well so far this season. We're only 1 race in, and we're only 11 and a half laps through that first race, but he's looking good so far.
Yeah, he is, Justin, absolutely. He's putting it down an early marker. He's putting down a benchmark of the way he wants to perform throughout the season. And, folks, we all want to hear who your driver of the day is. Be sure to let us know in the comment section below who it is at the end of this race. But you've got to say at the moment, Eterno could be one of those contenders for driver of the day, doing a superb job, and he's still sticking with the back of Alex Gillen, and he's got to run on him, Justin, going down the hill here. DRS open. Is he going to be able to have a look into that first corner? He's gaining and gaining and gaining on the Red Bull. Is he going to go up the inside? Yes, he is, into the first corner. Not quite fully committed, and Alex Gillen, well, just about cling on to the position. Oh, hold on, round the outside he goes. Wasn't a little bit of a disconnect there? It looked like there was. Oh, yes there was, because Alex Gillen has just popped back up in front of Eterno, and having looked like he's made a great move, it's actually just a slap in the face. No, you haven't. It's not that easy to pass me. And back through he goes. What can you do about that, Justin? Nothing.
Yeah. You could. I mean, I'm sure he was very excited at the moment when that happened. I'm not sure if he would have seen that red X indicating that Alex had been disconnected, but he got back in pretty quickly. It looked like just a brief hiccup there. Raggy is going to be making an overtake on Liam here for 11th position, for what is currently 11th position, as they come to the end of the lap, and it looks like it's going to be a pretty clean overtake for him. Eterno Joe still keeping up to the back of Alex Gillen. Of course, Alex did have that slight disconnect earlier in the lap, so that might be helping him ever so slightly, but it looks like he is going to be within DRS range, only about 0.7 of a second adrift of that Red Bull as they begin the ascent up the hill. Now, the Racing Point putting the power down. Hayden Gullis not that far behind, by the way. I noticed that he was less than 5 seconds behind Joe, but more than 4 seconds. Let's see if we can actually get a split here as Hayden is about to cross the line. There's Jarno Opmeer going slowly. 3.7 seconds is the gap between Joe and Hayden. So if Joe can't build that up because of that 5-second penalty, he is going to drop down to 6 behind his teammate. And yeah, I think Jarno is moving slowly there because I believe after his sort of disconnect that he had, I think he somehow glitched into the lead of the race despite being... I think it said that he was a lap ahead even, so I believe Jarno is essentially fixing his own issue that came up, and he's just going slowly. You can see at the bottom left on the minimap that very slow-moving Renault coming out of turn 3, just getting onto the DRS straight. You can see the yellow flags essentially following him wherever he goes, and I believe he is waiting up for whoever is essentially the current leader of the race, which might be Danny at the moment. I think it might be Danny, but yeah, you can see he's just kind of getting going on that straight again. So he's ran into an issue as a result of that disconnect, but he's solving it himself.
Yep, good to see. Slowing back down, not taking advantage of gaining a full lap. Good to see. So we should still get a bit of a grandstand finish before the end of this race. We'll see where he slots back in, if he'll try and make a move to repass Danny. But here we are, back on board with Hayden Gullis. Let's take another look at that gap. 4 seconds, still staying within range of Eterno to gain that position from him. We should also mention that Eterno, who had been doing a good job to cling on to Alex Gillen, has now dropped back a little bit. You can just see that on the mini-map briefly. And just ignore that virtual safety car at the left-hand corner of your screen, by the way, folks. I think Jarno's game is a little bit glitched ever since he left the lobby. So I think that virtual safety car might have been when he left the session and it's froze into that position. I'm not too sure, but ignore that, folks. That we're not under virtual safety car, and if we were, he's going at a hell of a speed to be under virtual safety car conditions. But anyway, he has slotted, as we anticipated, back in behind Formula Danny, and with 3 laps to go of the opening race of the Squad Sprint season, it looks like it's going to be game on between these two, the champion and the newcomer. Could you have asked for a better start to the season than that? As they make their way down the hill and through the Senna S, who is going to come out on top in this one? We have to wait and see. Veloce James, though, quite a gap further back. I'm surprised to see him so far back, especially having pitted under the VSC, Justin.
Yeah, that's right. I'm not sure exactly what caused that, but he is firmly into the podium position, so I would be very surprised if he was going to fall outside of that 3rd place position. But yeah, it's a pretty decently sized gap to Formula Danny. Jarno has now officially gotten back into the place that he was prior to the disconnect, which was essentially tucked underneath the rear wing of Formula Danny. So things have resumed as they were. We may have missed out on a few laps worth of racing between the two of them, but you know, great, fantastic stuff to see Jarno slowing down, waiting for Danny, getting things back to the way that they were. The stewards won't have to take any sort of action or anything like that. So that's fantastic to see. And we still have 2 and a bit laps of racing to go through between Formula Danny and Jarno Opmeer. Which one will we see pick up the victory here today for the opening round of Squad Sprint Season 2? They're going to get onto the brakes nice and heavy into turn 1 through the Senna S. It looks like Jarno Opmeer not really interested in making... Oh, a big moment there for Formula Danny. He speared off to the right-hand side of the circuit as he was making his way through turn 3, or just coming into turn 3. and you can see he's stationary on the minimap as Veloce James now takes second place in this race, and he's still stationary. I think that may have been some sort of hardware glitch or something like that. I don't think that's user error, but we can go on board with Formula Danny, and we can see for ourselves here. You can see turning right, still turning right, still turning right. Yeah, I think something happened there.
Yeah, I think it might be a wheel failure or something of that description. A real shame. The champion from a year ago starts his defence with a crash in the barrier. No points, nil points, zilch, 0 for the reigning champion on the opening race of the season. And it's contrasting from last year. It's quite interesting because Veloce James's title hopes ended at the same corner last year, and at the start of this season it is the turn of Formula Danny, the champion from a year ago, to run into trouble, and he's going to have his work cut out to get back into the title fight. Obviously a long way to go, but that's not the way you want to start your season. As look at this, up the inside goes Hypers, opportunistic manoeuvre there on the racing point of Hayden Gullis. Hayden will try to fight it for all he's worth, but Hypers, the young upstart, makes the move and is up into the top 5, and Justin, the youngster, still not old enough to qualify in the F1 Esports Series, but I'm sure that's a name we're going to be hearing a lot more of in the coming years.
That's right. I mean, Veloce Hypers may be a name that's sort of new to some of the viewers, some of the followers of F1 Esports. But yeah, he is definitely going to be one to watch. The only reason we haven't seen him on the main stage and getting picked by one of the teams is just purely because he hasn't been old enough up until. Well, he's still not old enough, actually. He's still only 15 years old. I'm not sure which season is going to be the first where he actually is old enough, but believe you me, we will all hear about it when he is old enough, because he will definitely be making a name for himself. So Jarno is looking pretty comfortable at this stage. Got a decently sized gap to James behind. You can see James is actually just making his way through Bico de Pato as Jarno Otmir is making his way through Junsao. Now he's climbing up the hill. So pretty sizable gap between the pair of them. Things are looking A-okay on the Renault as he cycles through the MFD. Just having a look at everything, you can see it's just over 8 seconds. The checker flag is out, and Jarno Otmir will claim the first victory of the season. What a drive for Jarno Otmir.
Yeah, Otmir takes the checker flag on debut in the squad sprint, and after that Danny error, victory is handed to him. I say Danny error, it might have been an issue with his hardware. It's a victory for Jarno Otmir in the opening race of the season. Alex Gillen, what a result from him to come home in third, behind, of course, Veloce James, who was second, and up to the line. This is going to get very close. Eterno against Hypers, and as a result, of course, of that time penalty, Hypers gets ahead. He almost did it on the racetrack as well. It wasn't quite to be. But let's have a look then at the final race results. It's also the championship standings, of course. It's Jarno Otmir who takes the victory, the 25 points. James Baldwin makes up from the heartbreak, I should say, from a year ago to come home in second with 18 points. Alex Gillen, third, possibly the surprise package of the race. Good effort there from him. Tomek comes home in fourth. That's Veloce Hypers. He got the fastest lap as well, plus 1 point. Hayden Gullis, the first of the non-really quick drivers you'd expect, or I think that's a fair point to say. He's fifth, with Joe Wilkes in sixth. Good day for Racing Point. Seventh was Benjamin Daly. Niren was eighth. Isaac Gillison came home in ninth after a spin earlier on in the race. And Ben McConnell, Raggy, got the final point in 10th place. Let's have a look at the second half of the standings. Obviously, absolutely everyone on 0 points after that one. Liam, well, that's about where Burnley usually are in the league, the Premier League. He's 11th after that one. After starting on pole, it was never going to end very well for him, did it? Tom Storm Martelo, he was 12th, and I did not finish for Daniel Beresnay, Ryan Ledamore, Tom Martinez, and Arif colliding once again, and did not start for Chembolic Bassi, James Doherty, Camel, and Simon Weigang. So, Justin, take us through the constructors' standings.
In the driver standings, it is exactly the same, of course, since it's the first race of the season. Jarno leads the way with James in second, Alex in third, and a lot of disappointed drivers behind those three. So, skipping ahead to the constructors' standings, Renault leads the way after the 25 points picked up by Jarno Otmir, and no other points from any other Renaults. In the Haas, it was all about James Baldwin. He picks up 18 points, but the combined points of the Racing Points puts them in third position, level on points with James Baldwin and Haas. Then we've got the Red Bull in 4th position, the Red Bulls with Alex Gillen scoring very well in that race. Then it's the 2 Toro Rossos in 5th position, Ferrari in 6th position with 6 championship points after 1 car finished that race. McLaren's struggling a little bit, down with only 4 points in 7th position. Then comes Williams with only 2 points picked up during the race and only a single point for Mercedes, and unfortunately no points just yet for Alfa Romeo, Andy.
Yeah, it was a tough day for Alfa Romeo then, with Danny failing to see the flag when he was on course for the victory. What a day though for Racing Point, what a day for Renault and Jarno Opmeer winning on his debut in the series. Well, that's all from me, Ginger Andy and Justin Sutton. Be sure to let us know in the comment section. We're always interested to hear what you guys have got to say here at Veloce. Who was your driver of the day? And also give us your thoughts on yet another collision, just like last season, between Arava and Tom as well. But that's all from us. Be sure to join us again for round 2 of the championship. As the 5 lights go out, it's a good start from Niren. He moves through into the lead.
Only the end of lap 1, and James is already up to 5th position. What a start. Big moment for Storm, and that's going to put him off. Oh, a big moment there for Formula Danny. He speared off to the right-hand side of the circuit. And Jarno Opmeer will claim the first victory of the season. What a drive for Jarno Opmeer.